The views and opinions expressed during this program are not necessarily those of Overseas Radio Network, the Expat Broadcasting Group, the staff, management, or broadcast partners. All information provided is for educational purposes only. Before taking action, consult a licensed professional.
Welcome to Ecuador at Your Service, featuring Michel and Ashley live from the gorgeous colonial city of Cuenca, Ecuador. This show is dedicated to everything Ecuador. Expect the unexpected, the personal, the how-tos, the do's and don'ts, some humorous adventures and misadventures, informative interviews with expats and experts, and valuable insights on finding and living your passion in Ecuador. It's all here, so stay tuned and join us at the equator.
Welcome to Ecuador at Your Service. This is Michelle.
And I'm Ashley.
And you're listening to us on the Overseas Radio Network. We have a great show for you today. We have two wonderful artists. We have Marco Missinato, who's a composer from Los Angeles, originally from Rome, who's going to talk to us about his new album, Unfolding Secrets, and also later on we're going to talk to Kristin Hoffmann, who's an incredible vocalist from New York, living in New York, but originally from Connecticut.
They just did this amazing concert with the Cuenca Symphony, and they're actually launching this album in Cuenca in Ecuador. So we're going to find out why they came to Ecuador, to South America, to do this.
Absolutely. So great show, great artistic show. So welcome, Marco. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So lovely to be with you guys.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you here. So, Marco, where are you originally from?
I am originally from a little village north of Venice in Italy. And that's where I was born. And then around 3 or 4 years old, I moved with my family to Rome, to the big city.
To the big city, okay. Yes. And what were you interested in music from the very beginning, or were you?
Yes,
like
I was very connected to music from the very beginning. Yes, for me the experience of being physical was so intense, and so I would go to the music to kind of feel a connection.
What age are we talking here?
Well, I remember when I was 2 years old, and I knew there was 2 years old. I know there was an instrument on the room. I would start to be very excited, and I wanted to touch it and play with it.
And so, I was reading in your biography that you actually started composing or doing something with instruments at age 5 or 5 or 6.
Yes, basically that's what would happen. I would go to the instrument, and immediately, as soon as I established a connection with the instrument, immediately melodies would come through.
That's amazing. You know, when I was 5 years old, I was just busy figuring out how to do a tower with my Legos. So,
I was playing Lego too, by the way.
Okay.
But he was singing while he was doing it.
Right, and composing.
So composing, I mean, when you're young, how does that come through? What comes through, and did you put it on paper? Did you just kind of keep it in your head? How did you do that?
Yeah, well, whatever age you are, in my personal experience, composing is a very mysterious process. I still really don't know how the whole thing happened. Somehow I was guided to maintain a sense of purity and to guard myself from any educational programming skills, so that I could be as pure as possible when I go to the music.
That's incredible.
What was the first instrument you played? Did you play instruments?
I think I started with a little flute. And then whatever I would find, I would play a little melodica, and then a little keyboard.
Now, do you come from a musical family?
I really don't know, because
you don't. Okay.
Both my mother and my father were so caught up into the survival of, so they didn't have the opportunity to really find out what kind of gift they carry on.
So then you developed your sense of music through your adolescence, and then you became a composer and a singer as well, is right?
Yeah, well, the singing was part of the idea of composing, because sometimes the music would express itself through my voice, sometimes just by touching the instrument. But the professional singer came much later, yes.
Well, you never really had, and when we talked to Kristin, it's a real dichotomy. You never really had formal education. This was all sort of coming through and intuitive, and just something that you picked up and couldn't stop.
Yes, that's right. Actually, I am graduated at the Musician Institute of Hollywood as a vocalist. But it's interesting because as soon as I passed the graduation, I immediately forgot everything I just washed out.
Like most students,
we
once you
won't
pass
tell
your
the school
exams,
that.
once you pass your exams, it's like that's it, it's done.
Right.
But then you started doing this more ethereal or more spiritual approach to music, because when I was looking at your albums, your first albums were mostly, very obviously very music and vocally oriented love songs and that kind of stuff. And then over time, you developed a sensibility that was much more spiritual.
Or did you think that sensibility, maybe the world was ready for hearing that kind of thing?
No, well, you see, that's the point. There is no thinking. There is just being and allow things to come out. But the instrumental version, what you addressed as ethereal, it was from the very first beginning. The song that you heard me sing, that came later as a way to pay the bills and survive. I kind of invent myself as a singer.
Wow. And then from that, you took it and then you made it your own into something that was much more spiritual. Is that right?
Yes, but the element of spirituality was there from the beginning.
That's wonderful. Well, this new album, Unfolding Secrets, is just unbelievable, and I think that it's a masterpiece. I really do think so. And we're going to listen to the very first track of that album, and if you want to hear more about it, go to marcomissinato.com. That's MarcoMissinato.com. And this is the very first track of the album. It's called Unfolding Secrets, and the album itself is called Unfolding Secrets. So stay tuned. We'll be back. This is Michel and Ashley on Ecuador at Your Service, Overseas Radio Network.
You're tuned in to OverseasRadio.com, the station to help you reach your dream destination.
Just finished school? Newly retired? Looking for a change? Get certified to teach English and move abroad like thousands do every year. Global TESOL College comes to Costa Rica, the global organization that trains and certifies more ESL instructors than any other organization of its kind. For the past 15 years, we've trained and certified over 40,000 graduates in the field of TESOL. Live the dream of staying and studying at the beach. You will be living at one of our beautifully centrally located accommodation options in Jaco Beach on Costa Rica's Pacific coast. With a school, beach, and great restaurants all within walking distance, in a safe community with all the convenience of back home, discover why so many choose to earn their teaching certificate in Jaco Beach, Costa Rica. Visit us today for more information at www.globaltesolcostarica.com. That's global, TESOL, Costa Rica.com. Mention this ad when you enroll and receive $50 off your tuition. Enroll with a friend and receive $100 off. The world is waiting for you, and Global TESOL College is your ticket.
Your expatriation destination. This is OverseasRadio.com.
Welcome back to Ecuador at Your Service. This is Michel and Ashley, and you're listening to us on the Overseas Radio Network. Before the commercials, we were talking to Marco Missinato, who's an amazing composer originally from Italy and who's now in Los Angeles, California, and who just made a new album called Unfolding Secrets.
He's actually now in Cuenca,
Absolutely.
unfolding his
With
secrets
us.
with the Cuenca Symphony and with some other musicians all around town. He's launching his new album, which is so exciting that he came to South America America to do that.
And the vocalist on the album is called Kristin Hoffmann. She's an amazing lady originally from, I believe, Connecticut. We'll ask her that, but and now living in New York. And she has a new way of interpreting sounds, which totally is commensurate with the album as well. So welcome, Kristin. We're so happy to have you on the show.
So nice to be here.
So you are originally, if I remember from your biography, from Connecticut. Is that correct?
Originally from Connecticut, and I've been in New York City for 16 years.
Wow. And what do you do there? Do you teach? Do you
I do a multitude
sing?
of different musical things. I play a lot of shows out at clubs. I do a lot of production work with Pro Tools and records for myself, for other projects. I teach piano, singing, and composition. I've taught at a school of rock. I mean,
you've
a little bit of everything.
With all kinds of people.
Yes, that's true. I'm singing with a couple other really beautiful projects, and so my life has been a beautiful adventure of music, and it always surprises me where it takes me, but it's always a great journey.
And you started your music career when you were very young as well.
Yes, I was totally interested in music from my first memory is also at 2 years of age.
2 years, my God, you people! I mean, I was just playing with my toys.
Actually, my first memories in life, my parents had this upright piano, and we lived in this little house in the woods. And I remember walking into the living room, and I would see the sun coming through from the window and glimmering on the keys. And I just remember them being above my head, and I would go and just listen to the sounds and touch the keys and spend hours there, just totally mesmerized.
It's so funny because we'll talk to you about your collaboration, but part of it has been through Skype until you really came here and met one another. Had you been at 2 and 4 and able to create and talk to one another, the world would be a very different place.
Yeah,
like Pebbles and Bam Bam or something. So also, your sound is very different. It's very special, and it's been described in the press as the best new voice, beautiful and soulful. Now, where does that soulfulness come from?
Well, I feel I've always been a deeply spiritual person. I've felt an interconnectedness with nature, with other beings here, as long as I can remember. The soulfulness is something that, as long as I just get out of my own way, so if I just let my mind clear its way and not think so much, I feel this instantaneous connection to my higher self, and I can become a channel for a much higher vibration to come through. And then I'm fortunate that I've really studied a lot with singing and vocals. And
what did you say? You're unfortunate?
No, I'm fortunate.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm able to bring in this energy, and then really I feel like I've built a great vehicle to just let it out and share it.
Well, what's so interesting about you is, and we'll talk a bit about this, is that you, on this album, don't really sing words. You sing a feeling.
Yes.
Something that came through, something that was magical, that when you heard Marco's and beautiful music, that came through. Tell us a little bit about that.
I actually call this style of soul singing that I do, I call it solom, which I was sitting in the bathtub one day years ago, and water energy always, gives me tons of ideas, right? So I was sitting in the bathtub one day, and I always did this intuitive kind of singing, and I was thinking, what do I call this? And all of a sudden it was like solom. And to me it means light, soul, S-O-L, and then om, which is the vibration of the universe, so like solom. So that's what I call it.
Om, O-H-M?
A-U-M. A-U-M.
Like
yeah.
Om. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
incredible.
when I'm stepping into
that,
No, I was about I always did this kind of intuitive soul singing, and I used it to rebalance myself, and also I would share it with friends and family and whatnot. But I started leading yoga workshops where I would actually tune in and sing whatever I felt was there to rebalance the energy. And around that time, I was thinking, I need to call this something, and that's when.
That's incredible. But now this new way of singing, which is, I guess, called, you saw solom, but it's kind of a vocalizing or vocalization, or I don't know if I'm making this up, but it's kind of like, it's not actual words, but it's sounds that then you can interpret as a feeling.
Yes.
Is that how it's
kind of the universal soul language, you could say. It is different sounds, and there are some words that come in that you may recognize from different languages.
Now, is that unique to you, or is that something that is a trend or that people are doing?
There's definitely a couple other bands that I love who have done a similar thing, like the Cocteau Twins and Sigaros.
We love Sigaros.
Yes, yeah. I love Sigaros. These bands that are tuning into these ethereal energies often will experiment with more universal sound, I find.
What's great is when you listen to something like that, everybody takes home a different message. It's where it resonates in their own heart and their own mind and their own spirit. And,
For sure.
And so people it's not like I'm just listening to a song and I hear the words and I walk away and I either hum them or I don't.
Yes.
You take home an experience. You're part of the music, not an observer.
So do you basically listen to the track, Marco's track, any kind of, and then you go into wherever that takes you, and then you start thinking about the sounds of that?
Exactly. Like I would get the backing tracks, and I was recording the vocals in a cabin in the middle of the woods, so I was surrounded by nature. And I would just be feeling the music, and I would spend a day usually with each song and just really feel the energy, listen to the melodies, and all of a sudden it's something that happens spontaneously. The ideas just start to flow, and it's a very natural process. And the sounds come out. And I work with Pro Tools, so I record, and then I go back and listen, and I usually write them down, and then next time I will perfect them, as I go back and re-record.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So we're going to listen actually to a track on the album, which is track number 3, which is called Come With Me. It's a great track with Kristin's voice and Marco's incredible music. So let's listen to this. Stay tuned. We're going to come back after these commercials. You're listening to Michel and Ashley. This is Ecuador at your service on the Overseas Radio Network.
Live call-in shows and hosts from your favorite countries. This is the Overseas Radio Network.
Worried about rising taxes, costly insurance, out-of-control healthcare, economic decline, staggering debt, mortgages, and retirement? It doesn't have to be this way. Escape to Ecuador, one of the most beautiful countries on the planet, and let EcuadorAtYourService.com be your guide. Ecuador has been named the #1 retirement destination in the world 3 times in a row. So if you're searching for beaches, jungles, farmlands, cities, affordable healthcare, and a richer lifestyle at half the cost, contact EcuadorAtYourService.com.
Interested in the profits of organic agriculture but don't want to get your hands dirty? High offshore returns with low taxes and strong property rights? Consider Chile's most exciting new development. Check out freedomorchard.com. No gimmicks, no secrecy, no endless waiting, no unfulfilled promises. Freedom Orchard Organics gives real returns. Don't just sit on a pile of gold. Inflation-resistant agricultural investments are available now at Freedom Orchard. Enjoy a short payback period from year-round frost-free planting on our highly productive farmland in central Chile. Visit freedomorchard.com for details.
OverseasRadio.com. broadcasting from Panama to Paris and beyond.
Welcome back to Ecuador at Your Service. This is Michel and Ashley on the Overseas Radio Network. Today we have two amazing artists, Marco Missinato and Kristin Hoffmann, who are collaborated in an album called Unfolding Secrets, and they were recently featured in the Cuenca Symphony Orchestra in an amazing concert. Now they are together here in our office. Welcome, Kristin. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you.
We were talking before about your different backgrounds, and now let's just talk about your collaboration, what you did together. First of all,
but here's the greatest thing. They never met one another. They collaborated. They have this extraordinary album, but they never met each other until they got here in Ecuador.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So how did you actually meet? I mean, how does a girl from Connecticut meet a guy from Rome? And how does that happen that you guys make an amazing album?
Or
New York and LA, yes.
Actually, it happened by me just browsing on Facebook and feeling this... energy from this picture. I said, let me see who is this person, and I found out she is a singer, and so I connect with her, and I...
Well, she's not exactly hard to look at. Let's just put it that
right.
way. That always helps.
I'm blushing.
Of course. So I sent her a track, and I said, I love your work. Let's see if it resonates with you. Maybe we can do this together. And then maybe you want to go ahead and say.
Yeah, so one day I got this Facebook message from Marco saying, I've created the music for this new record and I feel like maybe you'd be the right singer, and why don't you give a listen? And I heard only Unfolding Secrets first.
That's the first
yeah,
track
the first
from the
song,
album.
and
Yes.
immediately I was like, okay, I'm ready to go.
And Marco's not bad to look at either.
Not at all. So I immediately felt a resonance with the music and that it's really in alignment with my path and my
But you had
mission.
a career in your own right, in the sense that you have many things to your, you've done so many things and gigs, and you've played with many people. And by the way, just so the listeners know, if you want to find out more about Kristin, you go on KristinHoffmann.com. This is written Kristin Hoffmann, HOFFMAN.com. Right?
Two N's.
Two F's, two N's, yes.
Two of anything in doubt.
But then when you guys got together, it was dynamite. I mean, it was really a meeting of two souls that really wanted to create something extraordinary.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really divinely orchestrated.
And so what was the inspiration
Who knew
initially?
Facebook would be responsible for
right?
divinely orchestrated music?
I mean, we love Facebook, but more like, what are you doing today? I'm eating a sandwich. So what was the inspiration for the album, actually, the Unfolding Secrets?
For the production of the album?
Yes.
The inspiration is always the same. It's just the desire to connect with Source and fully experience that connection. And so you just allow yourself to create that opening space so that Source can come through you.
Because a lot of artists talk about the fact that they kind of see or hear something in another dimension, or I don't know. I'm not in that situation, but I'm thinking, did you ever connect in that way, and then you draw it into this dimension, or I don't know. I guess that's how I want to express it.
Well, I am drawn to the instrument by a strong emotional feeling.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily correlated to anything what's happening in my life. It's just the desire to have a connection, and then things happen mysteriously and very quickly. It's like a few seconds and it's done.
Well, what made you decide to come to South America, and most especially to Ecuador and Cuenca, to launch this album? Because it was the premiere, it was the launching of this beautiful, beautiful album, but it's the kickoff of what's going to be a worldwide tour that we'll talk about, later. What made you think Cuenca?
Yeah, that too was divine intervention there. I was actually invited by a friend to come and visit, and as soon as I stepped here, I right away shifted from being a tourist to, okay, I feel like this is really a good connection for the music. I love the people. Everybody are so lovely and sensitive and open, and everything came out really effortlessly.
Well, that says a lot. And there is energetics here that we've always talked about with the Andes that is something very special as well. So it suits your music.
Yes. And Kristin, had you been here before? Is this your first time here?
I had never been here before. I remember I was on Skype with Marco one day and we were talking about the project. And I said, "Where are you?" And he said, "I'm in Ecuador. A friend invited me."
And you're like, "Where?"
And then he said, "I have this weird feeling that we're going to be doing some music here." And I said, I think that might happen as well. And then a few weeks later, it had all manifested, and here we are now. It's pretty amazing. It's like reverse of a project, because usually you meet and you ruminate and decide over a long period of time, and then you make a project. But it's gone the total opposite direction in this case.
And what's been your experience so far? Do you enjoy it here? Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I feel like there's so much.
You're radiating.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I
feel like there's so much great warmth and heart energy in the land, in the people. It feels like the perfect place for this music, especially considering that it's called the symphony, a symphony of the heart.
And how did you feel the welcome was? Did you feel that the people really understood the music, or this is a new thing for them?
I think both. I feel like people really did understand the music, and yet I feel like it's a new experience. And so there's a lot of excitement and heart opening happening, and I think it's helping to raise the frequency.
Well, it's very interesting because, of course, we were with you for the concert on Friday night, and we interviewed some people that, came out of the concert, some Ecuadorians, and they kept saying different. But they loved it. I mean, they were passionate about it. They couldn't quite put their finger on it. They weren't sure what it was, but they loved it. And so you're exposing people to a whole new way of listening and thinking and feeling through music, which is great.
Yeah, I remember after the concert, these 3 teenage boys came up, and they were just... You could see that they had just gone through this whole transformational experience, and they said, we've never experienced any music like this, but we loved it. And that's so amazing to me that
you touched 3 boys. Well, I mean, if you do nothing, that didn't sound right.
No,
that didn't sound right. Sorry.
I mean.
No, but it was amazing.
We're getting spicy here on the radio tonight.
It was an amazing concert. So we're going to go to commercial. We'll be back. We're going to be listening to, just before the commercial, to Soul's Calling. And it's one of the tracks on the track number 8 on the album, Unfolding Secrets, from Marco Missinato and the lovely Kristin Hoffmann. So stay tuned. If you want to listen to a little bit more, later on we'll be talking about the more spiritual aspect and how the oneness of this music... the next steps on the oneness helps to unite the world. So stay tuned. You're listening to Michel and Ashley. This is Ecuador at your service on the Overseas Radio Network.
Ready to learn about a new life overseas? You're at the right place. This is the Overseas Radio Network.
This is Jason Hartman, and I want to welcome you to the Jet Setter Show blogcast, an audio version of our written blog at jetsettershow.com. You can find the full-length podcast at jetsettershow.com or on iTunes, where we interview thought leaders and experts on exploring lifestyle-friendly destinations worldwide. Here is today's blogcast.
Thank you, Jason. Travel advice pop quiz time. It's fun to get sick while on vacation. True or false? If you answered in the affirmative, we suggest a Pacific scuba outing in the region of the deadly venomous reef stonefish, a critter rumored to have ended the lives of numerous islanders over the years. Its highly toxic venom ought to give your immune system a good workout. The rest of us prefer to stay at the peak of health at all times, especially when traveling. Here are some critical issues. Know your allergies. If you have allergies and are traveling out of the country, learn how to say the name of the offending food in the local language. Dental. If you even have a suspicion you might need dental work done, why not get it done before you go? Ever seen the movie Castaway? Bet Tom Hanks wishes he had seen a dentist before he crashed on that desert island and had to perform his own root canal with a rock and a... Never mind. Indigenous diseases. If you're going somewhere known for funky diseases, and every place has at least a few, our travel advice to you is research first and know how to prevent exposure. Failing that, at least figure out what to do if you contract a disease. It's also a good idea to stock up on prescriptions and get vaccinations if needed. Schedule your vaccines early enough that you'll have time to recover in the event of an allergic reaction. Trying to do all this the day before departure? Not a good idea. What's the point of even giving you travel advice if you're not going to use it properly? Go ahead. Have a tooth pulled, half a dozen vaccines, and tease a reefstone fish the day before you leave on your African safari if you must, but don't say we didn't warn you. For more, visit jetsettershow.com. For the Jet Setter Blogcast, I'm Will Weeks.
Thanks for listening to this audio blog, and please see disclaimers and important information at the website.
The world is a beautiful place, so listen up. The Overseas Radio Network.
Welcome back to Ecuador at Your Service. This is Michel and Ashley, and you're listening to us on the Overseas Radio Network. Before the commercial, we were talking to Marco Missinato and Kristin Hoffmann about their collaboration on the album Unfolding Secrets, which has just come out, and they were doing a special concert here in Cuenca with the Symphonic Orchestra. And it was a great, great success, and we're very, very happy to have you with us. Welcome back, Marco, and welcome back, Kristin. So nice to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about the story behind this album. Now, you talked a little bit about, what was the inspiration, but also you've had a recurring dream since you were young, and I think you're probably more connected than most people, I would say. And you said you've dreamt about this before, or you've had some kind of dream about this?
Yes, actually, this Unfolding Secret album is part of a vision that I had since I was a little boy. And this vision is about the idea of creating oneness and creating a heart-opening experience for everybody. Because you see, when you go through the process of creating these melodies, you have such an incredible, beautiful, and pure experience that the first thing that comes to your mind is, I want to share it. I want everybody to experience this. That's the natural. That's the next step.
Well, it's natural for some who are a little bit more evolved. Others would be, in other situations. But that's really, really beautiful. Now.
But what's so great is this dream has continued and continued and continued, but you haven't sort of manifested it into the world yet, because you kept thinking, as I understand it, you kept thinking maybe the world isn't quite ready, or maybe I'm not quite ready, and when all of this merges and matches, then this is the time.
Yes,
and
there is a divine time for this to occur, and also I had to become a match to the vision in order to crystallize it.
Exactly.
And your next project is going to be Sounds of Oneness. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Sounds of Oneness, this is about all of us being one. And this is something that is very dear to you, that we are all one. And that's something that I think that's very popular right now. And I'm not just saying that's a trend, but it's something that is a consciousness that's uniting, is that we're all actually one. It's not necessarily a issue that is understandable to most people, because a lot of us understand division, and by division I mean that we're brought up to feel that we have to compete against other people, that we're better, we're better looking, that we're more talented, and that's how we're brought up. But in actuality, your vision, and which is what is becoming more and more popular, and through your music you're exposing that, is that we are actually all one, and there's no separation, and there's a unity consciousness.
Yes, what you just mentioned is the old paradigm that is crumbling right now. And so now what I've been preparing all my life is coming to a point where it is really needed, because my heart always told me that everything is music. we all come from music. Everything is generated by sound.
Sound, yes.
And so sounds,
vibration and frequency.
right? Sounds in the right frequencies as really the opportunity to dissipate the illusion of separation, which is what needs to happen right now.
Because if you look at every religion and I've lived in many countries, and I've always studied the religion or mystical traditions of these countries. They always start with, in the beginning, there was a word or the sound, a mantra, and that the sound actually creates your reality. So if you have a sound that is pure, you're creating pureness and unity through your sound. And Kristin, you have experienced that through your even your voice, because your voice is so ethereal and so incredible, angelic.
Thank you.
That you actually elevate people's spirits. I was actually talking to my neighbor yesterday, believe it or not, a little story, and she went to the concert, my neighbor Chantal, and she was saying how, and she's a little bit older, she was saying how she's never in her entire life heard something that just elevated her soul so much. So, I mean, this is something that's really incredible, and it's a movement, a new movement, I think, that is going on around the world, is that people, like you said, the old way is crumbling, and we're just all realizing that we're one. And through your music, I believe that you are opening people's hearts. Don't you feel that's the truth? For sure.
And music and vibration, it's such a powerful vehicle to really transform everyone, in the vicinity of the sound immediately. It can open up a space for incredible growth and creativity to start flowing. And I think that's I think that's both of our goal as musicians, is to create a space of sharing and oneness, and just make everyone feel totally comfortable and free, so that they can start getting in touch with, each of us has our own unique gift and goal, and the more we can help create that vehicle, everybody starts to really get in tune with themselves, and together then we start to really harmonize.
Well, also music is really the universal language.
Yes.
And whether people understand that they are vibrating to the oneness or that they are just experiencing something that transforms them, it doesn't really matter.
Of course. It's really not about understanding. It's more about feeling. Because it's what we need to activate is our female energy.
That is that's not the new thing, but I've heard that over and over. The whole vibration is changing from a masculine, very not warrior energy to but from a masculine sort of warrior energy to a more Gaia sort of Mother Earth energy that then will take us up and be more loving towards each other.
Yes, we've been in a male-oriented world for hundreds of years, and that served us well because it took us where we are right now. But now we need to really open our vulnerability, our sense of love, compassion, and unity, and that's the female energy that needs to come out.
Well, and this new project, Sounds of Oneness, is going to be a worldwide project, but it's also going to include other kinds of things beyond music, sacred geometry, for example, and spoken word. Can you expand upon that just a little bit?
Yes, of course, because we talk about sound as we are all coming from sound. I mean, the whole life is a symphony. It really is a symphony. And out of that symphony, matter is created, and in the first shapes that comes out of that sound are what we call sacred geometry, which are beautiful shapes. And so blending, fusing in a live experience, music with sacred geometry, it really creates that art opening, that portals that really can allow people to give them permission to remember who they really are, because that's what it's all about, triggering the remembering, because we are all master of light here,
That's right.
Yes.
So your next project is going to be to take this around the world, is that correct?
Yes, to expose the music, to bring joy everywhere possible, imaginable. Yes, in all the.
And are you going to be there with Marco, Kristin?
I'm here, and I'm excited to be there.
That's wonderful. No, because you guys make such a great team, and this is such an incredible album. So for those of you who want to buy this album, you can just go on marcomissinato.com. That's MarcoMissinato. KRISTINHOFMAN.com, or you can have a link.
I have it on my homepage, and you can stream
Hoffmann.
and listen to all the songs right there.
That's with KRISTIN and HOFFMANN.
You got it.
Is that correct? So thank you so much for being with us. This has been wonderful. We're going to be listening to the last track of the album, which is called Dream of My Heart, on the album Unfolding Secrets, and this is a collaboration with Marco Missinato and Kristin Hoffmann. So stay tuned next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We're saying goodbye to you, and Ashley and I are very happy to have been with Marco and with Kristin today. Thank you so much.
So nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're tuned in to OverseasRadio.com, the station to help you reach your dream destination.